There is a chapter of human history that has been almost entirely erased from our collective memory. A time when the heavens and the earth collided in an unnatural way, giving birth to something monstrous. Most people read the Bible and skip over certain verses, dismissing them as mere allegories or ancient legends. But what if I told you those beings were real? That their birth wasn't a miracle, but a crime against the universal order? They were called the Nephilim. Today, on The Bible Responds, we are digging between the lines of the scriptures to answer the questions most people are afraid to ask. Who were their fathers? Why did their very existence force the Creator to reset the entire planet? And most importantly, stay with me until the very end of this video, because we're going to reveal a shocking detail about where those angels who started it all are located today. What you're about to discover will forever change how you view the invisible world. To understand the giants, we first have to understand who generated them. The story begins with a silent rebellion. In Genesis 6:2, we read something chilling. The sons of the true God began to notice that the daughters of men were beautiful. So they began taking as wives all those whom they chose. This is where the first great debate begins. Who were these sons of the true God? Were they just righteous men? No. The Bible uses this specific expression in other books to identify heavenly creatures. If we look at Job 1:6 and Job 38:7, we see clearly that the sons of God are the angels. But what drove perfect spiritual beings to come down to earth? The answer is selfish desire. These angels didn't just watch from a distance, they materialized human bodies. Imagine the scene: beings with superior knowledge and power walking among us, manipulating the natural order to satisfy forbidden passions. This wasn't just simple disobedience. In Jude 6, the Bible is incredibly strict. It says these angels did not keep their original position, but forsook their own proper dwelling place. It was a cosmic desertion. It was the beginning of chaos. From the union of these materialized angels and human women, a hybrid race was born. They weren't human, but they weren't angels either. They were the Nephilim. In Genesis 6:4, they are described as the mighty ones of old, the men of fame. But don't let the term fame fool you. In biblical language, this fame was rooted in infamy and terror. The name itself, Nephilim, comes from the Hebrew root naphal, which means to fall. But in its active form, it means those who make others fall. They were the fellers. Imagine beings of immense stature and physical strength, gifted with superhuman intelligence, but devoid of a moral conscience. They were the bullies of the ancient world. Their presence drastically changed the social fabric. Genesis 6:11 states clearly that because of them, the earth was filled with violence. There was no justice, no peace. Everywhere the Nephilim went, blood flowed. They were a biological and spiritual threat that risked extinguishing the pure human lineage. God did not sit idly by while his creation was being brutalized by these hybrids. The Great Flood was not an act of indiscriminate anger, but a necessary cleanup operation. Before we see what happened to the Nephilim during this catastrophe, I want to mention that we have produced a specific deep dive video all about the Great Flood. In that video, we answer the scientific and logical questions about how that global event truly unfolded. If you want the full picture of how God reset the world, you absolutely need to watch that video right after this one. In Genesis 7:21, the Bible records the end of the Nephilim. So all flesh that was moving on the earth perished, including all mankind. Since the Nephilim had physical bodies, no matter how powerful, they drowned. Their lineage was wiped out forever from the face of the earth. But what happened to their fathers, the rebellious angels? Being spirits, they couldn't drown. Before the waters submerged them, they had to dematerialize and return to the spiritual realm. But they didn't find a welcome home waiting for them. Here is the truth many don't know. In 2 Peter 2:4, we read that God did not refrain from punishing the angels who sinned, but threw them into Tartarus, confining them to pits of dense darkness. Tartarus is not a physical place, but a state of spiritual degradation. These angels were stripped of their light, and most importantly, their ability to materialize human bodies ever again. They are locked out. They are trapped in mental darkness, waiting for the final judgment. Today, many people ask, if the Nephilim died in the flood, why do we hear about giants later, like Goliath? Some channels will tell you the Nephilim survived, or that their DNA was preserved, but the Bible responds differently. In Numbers 13:33, Israelite spies mention the Nephilim, but the context shows that this was a bad report, an exaggeration fueled by pure fear. Watch our video about the book of Numbers in the dedicated playlist. Goliath and the other giants, like the Rephaim, were simply men of exceptional stature, just as they exist today, but they were no longer angelic hybrids. The door to materialization was locked by God after the flood. So where are the Nephilim today? They aren't among us. They are dust beneath the ocean and the silt of millennia past. But their story serves as a warning. It teaches us that any interference with divine laws leads to destruction. Those rebellious angels, now called demons, are still active, but they can no longer spawn giants. Their strategy has shifted. They no longer use the physical force of the Nephilim, but mental deception and spiritual influence. The Bible is not a book of myths. It is a book of answers. The story of the Nephilim shows us a God who intervenes when evil crosses every boundary. If you've ever wondered why the world is so violent today, or if there are other invisible forces acting behind the scenes, you are in the right place. On our channel, we explore every dark corner of the Scriptures to bring you the light of truth. What do you think about the fate of the fallen angels? Do you believe their influence is still visible today? Let us know in the comments. We read and respond to everyone. I invite you to subscribe to The Bible Responds and click the bell icon. We have dozens of other responses ready for you, from the afterlife to prophecies about the future. Don't forget to check out our video on the Great Flood to complete the story you started today. Remember, the world has the questions, but the Bible has the answers. See you in the next video.